Brian, the former NFL lineman, and for me, the best X's and O's guy to talk to when it comes to getting our listeners ready for that big playoff game Sunday night between the Steelers and Chiefs. First of all, Brian, how was the birthday cake Friday? You went carrot cake, right?
Yeah, no, I mean, there's you can never go wrong with carrot cake. I mean, it's just a rule in this world that you never turn down carrot cake.
Oh.
I don't care how fat you are, overweight you are. Somebody puts a piece of carrot cake in front of you.
Okay.
You can't turn it down. It was a great birthday celebration.
Perfect number of pieces of carrot cake in one sitting for you.
Well, I've sat there and eat the whole cake. I mean, I've eaten the whole cake before. I mean, I'm not ashamed, but I've eaten an entire carrot cake before.
Good.
Well, there's vegetables in it, so I think that's
Amen,
okay.
Brian. Let it all hang out. Just come right out with it. Don't shy away. Don't hold back.
I was hoping that was the answer I was hoping
honesty.
to get. Was just take a fork and eat the cake.
So now we want the same honesty on Steelers-Chiefs. Do you think the Steelers are going to Arrowhead and winning on Sunday?
No, I don't think they're going to win, but it's not going to be 30-0 in the second quarter. And I'm not going to say they can't win. I mean, I would never, cross up Mike Tomlin or any of the guys on that team and say they can't do it. I'm not. But if you're putting me on the spot and saying, who's going to win the game, I would say Kansas City's going to win, not because they're at Arrowhead, but they played a very good, consistent brand of football over the last 2 months, and that's a hard resume to turn down the way that they've played.
Brian, one of the things that's different from that first meeting 3 weeks ago and now is the Steelers are going to have a different center. Hassenauer in, Green out, and he was getting pushed around, Green was, in that game. It felt like a lot of players are getting blown up. They have a new offensive line coach, too, because it's no longer Adrian Clem. It's Chris Morgan, who went to the Super Bowl with the Falcons in that position. How much difference can those two tweaks to that offensive line make, a positive difference for the Steelers?
Well, when Hassenauer started against Cleveland, he ran for, Najee ran for 188 yards. Mm-hmm. I mean, it was just it just looked different, and I thought they were good last week against Baltimore. I mean, you've got Calais Campbell and Brandon Williams and a bunch of big guys inside, and I thought they protected the middle real well. I thought Ben had an extra tick in some of those third and fourth down completions late in that game, the fourth quarter and overtime, that he hasn't had this year, at least a comfort level that he had an extra tick. And I thought, the play of Hassenauer inside has been a big difference.
X's and O's expert Brian Baldinger, our guest. Brian, how do they bottle up the fourth quarter overtime version of Ben Roethlisberger, which has been very good this year? How do we get that guy to start the game against the Chiefs on Sunday night?
Well, I think he's got a good group around him. Now Najee went out in the first series last week, but he came back late in the game. So you got a stud at running back. I don't know if you guys have put your eyes on Najee. That's a big human being, man. First time I seen him live was last Sunday, and I mean, he's not that much different than Derrick Henry size-wise. Ooh. But I like Chase Claiborne. Like, I think that guy can change the game. Now, he didn't touch the ball in the first half. He had 8 touches, 70 yards, and a touchdown, the go-ahead touchdown in the second half, and it was clear that they were finding ways to get him the ball in the second half. So, between Chase and between Deontay and Freiermuth and Najee, I mean, he's got enough places to go with the ball. So, but I don't think he has to just be in this massive rush that he's been all year to just get the ball out of his hands. I believe he's going to have an extra tick. Like, just to hang in there. He's still a lumberjack with the ball in his hands back there. He's still a hard guy to get to the ground. Like, sometimes you just need an extra second for something to open up. Mm-hmm. And I think he'll be better, and I think the offense will be better, if he can do that.
Brian,
I said Claypool. I meant Claypool. I apologize, guys.
To switch to the other side of the ball, because this is still where I'm more worried. I know they're going to have a healthy T.J. Watt, and I know how much difference that can make, obviously. But how on earth do you stop a team that didn't even have Kelsey the first time around and still put up 36?
Yeah, well, every game is different. I mean, it's just different. I mean, that thing just got away from him really fast, and it just snowballed. It can happen. It does happen. It's the only blemish in the last month of the season for the Steelers. You can't ignore it. It happened. Look, Kelsey is a safety blanket. Whether it's third down, red zone, you need a play. The play beyond the X's and O's that was drawn up Mahomes is going to look for him in the middle of the field. And so, look, the Steelers play a rat defense. To me, that would be a spot where Minka has got to shine, just keeping his eyeballs on, anything going deep, but at the same time, Kelsey in the middle of the field. And, I talked to Minka last Sunday. I don't know how he's still here, to be honest with you. I mean, that the run defense has been awful,
Yep.
and he's had to be the first contact against a lot of big backs in this league, and he's still standing. Now, most free safeties would be done. Like their shoulders, their body would just be given out. Like he's still doing it.
Mm-hmm.
That's the guy. I mean, they're going to protect the middle of the field. They're going to try and take it away. It's the most valuable piece of real estate, and that's where Kelsey lives. And so that's one thing, and then you got to stop him once he catches it. You got to tackle the catch because he's excellent after the catch.
Brian Baldinger, our guest. Brian, in the Super Bowl, Andrew Wiley played right tackle for the Chiefs, and that was a problem for them. Mahomes was running all over the place. They could not protect him in that game. So now Wiley's back in. They're down to their third-string center in Kansas City, and he gets T.J. Watt a few weeks removed from the rib problem and very close to 100%. You were in Baltimore. You got to see him up close last week. That matchup right there, can we distill the game down to that one matchup? Is that where the Steelers' hope lies, that one-man T.J. Watt can wreck the Chiefs' offensive game plan?
Well, I think it's part of it. I mean, TJ can make a big difference. I mean, but, it helps the way that Cam Hayward has played all year.
Yeah.
You can push the middle because Mahomes, most of these guys, especially Mahomes, are skilled at eluding the guys from the outside. But when they can't step up, that's the problem. And so, that's where Cam really comes in his ability to continue to push the pocket and play great football from the inside and play a lot of snaps. So, Baltimore had a tight end out there, and he was trying to, get in the way of TJ. I mean, he knows how to defeat that stuff.
Brian,
he knows how to beat that stuff. He's skilled at beating that kind of, protection. So I don't think that's going to bother him at all. But he can certainly change the game as soon as Mahomes tries to move, extend the plays. He likes to go to his left, which is away from TJ. So, just run and chase. I mean, his effort gets him a lot of sacks, gets him a lot of quarterback hits.
Brian, one of the narratives that we've heard from people who are maybe trying to predict a Steelers win or trying to come up with a scenario where they win, hey, get up early on these guys. They don't expect to be in a football game here maybe. They know they're big favorites, and then they start to get tight. Do you think that has validity with the Chiefs? Because I went back and looked. They were double-digit favorites against the Texans a couple of years ago, got down 21-0, and we all know what happened after that.
Well, I mean, look, Patrick Mahomes is just an amazing player.
Mm-hmm.
Like, no amount of deficit is going to keep him down. They were down, like you said, against the Texans, and all you could hear him say on the sideline is, we just need one score. And one score led to, a snowball effect. I mean, nothing's going to keep that guy down. I mean, he's just that competitive, and he's just wired that way. And really no amount of mistakes is going to affect him. I mean, he can throw tip ball interceptions or make bad throws or be over-aggressive. Nothing affects him mentally.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he's just there to compete for all 60 minutes. And so there's certain guys defensively, if you're Minka, you're TJ, you know that no matter what the score is, they're never out of it. Because there's just some quarterbacks that will just always find a way or will try to find a way. And he's about as good as there is at making those kind of comebacks.
Brian, how about psychology? You played in the NFL. You've heard coaches' speeches before games. You know what it's like maybe when you're not supposed to win and everyone's picking against you. That's the scenario for the Steelers. Ben played that up this week. He said, we've got no chance to win. Do you think that is a real ingredient in this game, that the Steelers having no pressure on them to win the game can help them in this game?
No, it can't hurt. I mean, everybody wants to be the underdog, and be disrespected and counted out. And, I mean, what Ben said, put up, 20 points and all that stuff is true. Tomlin will give him the same speech. But that's the fun part. I mean, that's the funnest part of playing football is when you're the underdog and you find a way to win.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's no better feeling than getting on a plane ride home and beating Kansas City, on their home floor. So That's the rallying cry. That's the way you should play it. That's the way it should be coached. And that's good. I mean, you can't be in a better spot than the Steelers are right now from that standpoint, because they're going to be doing their tomahawk chop or whatever they do in Kansas City, and I'm sure some Steeler fans are going to sneak in with some towels, and all you want to see are those towels waving when the clock strikes 0 at the end of that game.
Baldy, before we let you run, because you won people over with your cake comment, we have a listener that is going to the game in Kansas City and says, if I go to one of these barbecue joints, what should be the main course meat, and what 2 sides should I get?
Ooh.
Well, I mean, it's really simple. I mean, because you can get vegetables anywhere or sides.
Okay.
I mean, it's just meat and then 2 sides of meat. So you go for the brisket, but then on the side you get, the link sausage, and then you get yourself, a nice fillet. And so you just go meat with meat and meat. And really, when you triple up the meat, nothing gets you better prepared to go into hostile territory than just a complete meat fest. And that's what I would do.
That's the best Baldy breakdown yet. Thank you, Brian. We appreciate it, man.
Oh, all right, enjoy it, guys. It's going to be fun.
There you go.